Congressman Marcoleta, you are not a member of this committee, so therefore you are not allowed.
I think, Mr. Chair, we have yet to resolve that because, as you said in the last hearing, my removal as a vice chair of this committee was a plenary action. And therefore, there should be a plenary action to remove me as a member of this committee. I would like to believe, Mr. Chair, that when I was installed as a vice chair of this committee, it presupposes membership. I am supposed to be deemed a member because if I were not a member, I cannot be appointed as a vice chair. I am not a member. Kahit hindi po ako member sa committee ito, being a member of the House of Representatives, I have the right to make issues and to raise issues. That's why I'm asking your permission to do so, Mr. Chair.
You can at any time make a manifestation. In fact, I've been recognizing you po. But with respect to the issue of your removal, the committee is not in the position to answer that. Maybe you can question the Committee on Rules. Sila po ang proper committee na po pwede pong sumagot.
Yes, Mr. Chair, that is correct. The only reason why I answered you back because you said that I am not a member of this committee. I should not have raised that at all had you not said it. But may I continue?
Speculate, but it's very inhuman for.
I will supply the word, Mr. Chair. It's quite unprofessional. You
yes.
agree?
Or I'd rather use the word inhuman.
Inhuman.
Because you lost your income, di ba? Yung may pamilya ka
Hindi lang naman inisip ko may sasaing mamayang gabi, no? Pagka-uwi. Mr. Chair, would you know, Yusek Mercado, who replaced the outgoing officials?
For the two in administrative services, it was General Menpin and General Baluyan.
So that confirms the two generals on the invitation list serving as Yusek and ASEC, correct? What specific designations they had again?
They were Yusek for administrative services and ASEC for administrative services.
You know, we have so much respect for our men in uniform, Mr. Chair, Yusek Mercado, but you think having a general in the Department of Education would be something congruent with the mandate of the agency?
Well, it's a decision that the leadership has opted to take, so we cannot question it.
Now, considering this resignations, replacement of officials, and you know this, as we say, arbitrary style of dealing with human resources at the Department of Education, how would you characterize the management style of the Vice President when she served as head of your agency?
She has her targets, and I think that's where the disconnect is, because my sense, no, she has her targets, but she's in a different platform because ang orientation niya is local government, while as like policy process takes a longer one, no. Siya has to do it fast. I think she's been going down in the field, so mas nakikita niya yung problema. So she wanted it really, things to go very fast. But the policy process can take a little while, and since these are also human that you have to consider, so you have to explain to her that that's how things work in the policy loop.
Would it be fair to say that she could have been more humane in her dealings with the officials and employees of DepEd?
I think humane is, yeah, but probably it's a context of she thinks that since we're the executive committee, we should, level up to what she expected everyone to do.
The executive committee, Mr. Chair, is composed of the
undersecretaries and the assistant secretaries.
How often did the executive committee meet with the Secretary of Education in person?
I think we had a face-to-face mga few times, but most of our executive committee meetings are online, and usually she joins, but most of the time it's Yusek POA who.
It's Yusek POA who
yes.
preside. Mm-hmm. So next level of the of the USEC ASEC would be the regional directors. How often did the Deputy Secretary then had meetings with regional directors?
I'm not. It's a there's a because there's an execom and there's a mancom. I'm not very sure. Maybe once. Maybe Yusek Rebsi would know because he is the secretariat of the management committee. Yusek Rebsi Escobedo is also here.
So, Mr. Chair, USEC law should be once or twice, or how many? Just estimation.
Maybe quarterly.
Quarterly. So she was Deputy
Quarterly
Secretary for...
with Yusek POA.
with USEC POA, but with the Secretary of Education herself.
I'm not very sure with the... But when we were there, she was attending Mancom naman, which was monthly when I was there. But I'm not sure after I left.
So when you were serving at DepEd, she was attending or presiding over meetings with the regional director monthly, every month,
For a certain time.
for a certain time. So, do you believe that that kind of leadership that you had in the Department of Education affected the overall stability and the quality of leadership down the line?
Yes.
Do you think that the particular, you mentioned kanina, parang LGU yung perspective, no? That leadership style would be focused more on, I don't want to use the word, but that's the only way to describe it, partisan political interest rather than the welfare of the institution, the personnel, and ultimately the student that DepEd ought to serve. Do you think that's a safe,
I think
fair assumption, Mr. Chair?
when I say LGU, I think it's more of a fast result than because she really goes down to the ground, to the school level.
But
So
that fast result appears to be, would require or sometimes result in a disregard for the career professionals in the department. Don't you think, Mr. Chair?
yeah, sometimes.
Last question, ma'am. At least, Mr. Chair, I would know the Vice President is watching us because she just had a press conference and she said that she's denying giving former DepEd Undersecretary Gloria Mercado 50,000 for 9 months. And the Vice President saying that Mercado was let go because she used DepEd to solicit donations from the private sector amounting to 16 million without her knowledge. And she adds that she will provide the media with paper trail to back up her claim, describing Mercado as a disgruntled former DepEd official. I think, ma'am, given your long history and long service to the Republic, 40 long years, I think it's fair
It's
for you
very
to be
sad.
given the opportunity to reply to the Vice President.
I think, I don't want to do this, but since siya na yung nagsabi, i-turn over ko na yung envelope. The envelopes where the money was.
Comsec,
So
Okay.
it's 9 envelopes.
kuha po yung envelope.
So it says hope and the amount is there. Kasi ang sakit naman noon, ordinaryo lang akong trabahante tapos inano ka ng Vice President, di ba? It's very painful.
Ma'am, ilang taon na po kayo? I hope you don't mind. Hindi, gusto ko lang pong malaman kasi sabi po ninyo 40 years na po kayo in government.
I'm 65, sir, but
So when you were appointed as USEC noong 2022 ba? 2022? How old were you at
I
that time?
was 64.
64.
Yeah.
I'm sure sa edad din yung yan after pagkatapos nyo pong pag-ingatan yung iyong pangalan for the past 40 years?
Sagutin ko yun. Yes, sir.
So, okay, anyway,
Sir,
Mr. Chairman,
I'd like to...
Mr. Chairman,
Sino?
Mr. Chairman, dito po ako.
ay,
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Chair, can I continue first?
Congressman, wait, before I recognize Congressman Paduano, ma'am, yes.
I believe...
With the indulgence of Congressman Asidre, please continue, Congressman.
Mr. Chair, can we allow Yusek Mercado to continue with the response? Because I was trying to ask her about the 16 million that the Vice President mentioned.
Please respond with respect to the 16 million. 1660.
16.
16 million.
I would like to respond to that because it's a press con. When I was called by Yusek Solaika, he said, Yusek Mercado, you have to go because one, you have a teacher in your staff but I explained to them that the teacher was a contract of services when I joined DepEd, and the teacher has a pending application in Cebu because he's from the Visayas. And while he was working with us, he qualified for the RQA. But then when he received his appointment as a teacher, it was already past the opening of the class. It was almost opening, and the teaching load was already apportioned. So I called the RD. I said, can I still keep him? Because he was working on the special hardship allowance, which was a program that BP Sara also wanted to improve, because there's a new hardship allowance, and we were just able to reduce the hardship threshold from 0.37 to 0.33. And she wanted the basis for the giving of the hardship allowance, special hardship allowance, revisited. So that's why that guy was the one working on it. So I explained, and I don't feel at all na guilty ako dun sa sinabi niya. The second one is, Sulaika mentioned that I solicited from 2 agencies. So I explained to her that it was a program which our strand developed. There were 2 consultants from UNICEF who developed the app, and then we asked our external partnership office to look for external partners who will be presenting the program, because we developed the concept. It was DepEd Guro. It's her being able to contact the 980,000 teachers. Parang kahit nasaan siya, pwede niyang makausap yung mga teachers. The second one was for us to do an electronic mode of the RQA. Parang uploads the credential, even the computation of the teacher qualification is already on an what do you call this? Wala na siyang human intervention. So that was the program. It wasn't us who choose who would be the partners who will be invited. It was the external partnership. So we made a presentation to almost all the corporations. And then some of the corporations appreciated that it's a very important program. So some of them committed to buy, kasi what we did is we divided the total fund of 16 million into chewable chunks. So if you're interested with this package, ito lang. If you're interested with it, because not everyone naman wanted to pay the 16 million. But there were 2 corporations who were willing to fund, because we wanted to put one in Mindanao, one in Visayas, and one in Luzon. So there were 2 who committed to fund the full package. And those were the 2 corporations that Yusek Sulaika said I solicited. So I explained properly. I did not solicit. There's no money involved there. These are equipments. Walang cash po doon. Equipment siya na ito turn over sa DepEd. So I feel very sad that up until now, the BP has not been appraised, as I explained it to her people, that we did not solicit. In fact, the two corporations are willing to give an affidavit that I have no solicitation from them of 16 million.
So to reiterate, Mr. Chair, Yusek, first, this was a sanctioned DepEd project.
It's a DepEd project.
Second,
yes.
you did not do the solicitation yourself.
This was managed by the
external
partnership.
partnerships office. Third, no cash donation was ever made.
Equipments
was given to the department. So none of this, what allegations that the Vice President is making against you is true.
Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Chair. And that makes it very sad because she's saying it now. Ibig sabihin, her people did not explain to her.
At least I know she's watching, then she probably be able to get the information from you now. Thank you, Yusek Lo. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Congressman Paduano.
Ano lang po, short interjection with regards to the envelopes that was submitted to this committee. And I just want to put in record that voluntarily, former Yusek Mercado submitted the 9 envelopes, sealed, to support his claim, her claim in her affidavit, paragraph 4. Tama po, Yusek? Ito yung sa affidavit mo, paragraph 4. So, Mr. Chairman, again, just for the record, the 9 envelopes is being submitted voluntarily by Yusek Mercado and for this committee to keep it as part of the supporting evidence that was claimed through her affidavit, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you po. The chair would like to recognize the next interpellator, Congressman Suwan.
Mr. Chair.
With the indulgence of Congressman Suwan, please,
Mr. Chair, first,
Kong J. Konghun.
Yusek Mercado, pwede po ba kaming makakuha ng copy din ng resibo nung pinag-donatan po natin ng
Opo.
ng pera?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Second, Mr. Chair, I'd like to request, Mr. Chair, the COA for the copy of the rental or lease agreement of the 10 satellite offices and 2 extension offices of the OBP. I so move, Mr. Chair.
There's a motion by the second, duly seconded. Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is carried.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, the chair would like to recognize Congressman Rodante Marcoleta. With the indulgence, of course, of Congressman Suwan. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. May I be allowed to raise some procedural issues?
Congressman Marcoleta, you are not a member of this committee, so therefore you are not allowed.
I think, Mr. Chair, we have yet to resolve that because, as you said in the last hearing, my removal as a vice chair of this committee was a plenary action. And therefore, there should be a plenary action to remove me as a member of this committee. I'd like to believe, Mr. Chair, that when I was installed as a vice chair of this committee, it presupposes membership. I am supposed to be deemed a member because if I were not a member, I cannot be appointed as a vice chair. The officiality of that is, the position is only a privilege, but membership is organic. So until and unless that was to be resolved, Mr. Chair, I think you have to recognize me as a member of this committee because even if I admit or I will probably accede to you that I am not a member, kahit hindi po ako member sa committee ito, being a member of the House of Representatives, I have the right to make issues and to raise issues. That's why I'm asking your permission to do so, Mr. Chair.
You can at any time make a manifestation. In fact, I've been recognizing you po. But with respect to the issue of your removal, the committee is not in the position to answer that. Maybe you can question the Committee on Rules. Sila po ang proper committee na po pwede pong sumagot.
Yes, Mr. Chair, that is correct. The only reason why I answered you back because you said that I am not a member of this committee. I should not have raised that at all had you not said it. But may I continue, Mr. Chair, in raising some procedural issue because during the first hearing, I know that the very basis of this inquiry in aid of legislation was the privileged speech delivered by Honorable Valeriano. And I would like to make of record, Mr. Chair, although I was unable to do that during the first hearing, the privileged speech shouldn't have been allowed at all based on our rules. Our rules specifically states that no one can be allowed or avail the privilege hour if the concern he is to raise in his privileged speech principally and directly relates to a bill under consideration. At the time Honorable Valeriano, Mr. Chair, delivered his privileged speech, the General Appropriations Bill was already filed on August 27, 2024. He took the floor on September 3 and therefore any concern relating to the subject matter in the budget or in the bill should not have been allowed at all. And then this morning I saw the agenda, Mr. Chair. There was an additional agenda added in this committee and this is supposed to be the manifestation raised by Congresswoman Louis Stroh. And I saw in the notes that it was taken up as motu proprio matter, Mr. Chair. On procedural matters, I don't know how it should be done because motu proprio to my mind is something that would indicate an official action taken without formal request from another party. And so my question, Mr. Chair, is how did the committee took it on a motu proprio basis when it was a manifestation taken by another party? I see it a very unusual procedure, Mr. Chair, because this representation, I would like to recall that sometime in March 2024, delivered a privileged speech dealing on the same subject matter, and I think even more, I questioned the several irregularities pointed out by the Commission on Audit, specifically in 2017, 2018, and 2019, covering the audit report of CHUA in the Department of Education. In that privileged speech, Mr. Chair, I took note of the sum of something like 3.25 billion pesos of information communication technology packages. As noted by the Commission on Audit at the time, Mr. Chair, there were no adequate supporting documents. Unfortunately, that privileged speech was not even referred to the Department, to the Committee on Education or the Committee on Good Government. And so my question, Mr. Chair, is how is it special, or how special can a manifestation issued during the budget committee hearing that this committee, this good committee, already took it as a motu proprio action, subject matter to be covered by this hearing? So parang there is no consistency, Mr. Chair. Parang I would like to volunteer, Mr. Chair, that a copy of my privileged speech delivered on March 15, 2021, entitled "Cobadis DepEd." It was not even referred to any committee, Mr. Chair. When I exposed several irregularities in the Department of Education as audited by the Commission on Audit, I would like to volunteer that this be made part of the documents that might be taken up by the committee in regard to any investigation with regard to DepEd. In this particular privilege speech, Mr. Chair, I even question a particular law. It's Republic Act 1847. This is a law enacted in 1995. And in that particular law, it prohibited DepEd, then called DEX, the time, Mr. Chair. DEX at the time was already prohibited from procuring and publishing the books. And it should be relegated, or it should be transferred to the private sector publishers. For more than 25 years, Mr. Chair, the DepEd did not follow the law. It's Republic Act 1847. I've been pointing out to them several times already. But there was no investigation done on that matter. How is it that a manifestation issued during a budget hearing be taken up as motu proprio when a full privilege speech dealing on the same subject matter, and even, I think, more appropriately described as more complete, but it wasn't taken up, Mr. Chair. This is all, and I thank you very much for allowing me. Thank you.
Thank you. Duly noted. Congressman Lord Suwan, please proceed to your interpellation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to address my questions to the Department of Education.